The rain falls on the city not as a cleansing force, but as a dirty accomplice. It slicks the asphalt, making it gleam under the jaundiced glow of streetlights, turning ordinary puddles into murky, bottomless mirrors. It clings to the air, thick and heavy, carrying the scent of exhaust fumes and decay. Tonight, this rain is Officer Frank Miller's kingdom. He sits in his patrol car, a behemoth of steel and authority, watching the world through a veil of water streaming down his windshield. The rhythmic thump-thump of the wipers is the only percussion in his quiet dominion. Frank Miller is a man carved from granite and prejudice. His face is a collection of hard lines and permanent scowls, his eyes small, dark chips of obsidian that see the world not in shades of grey, but in the stark, simple colors of black and white, of us and them. He believes in order. His order. The kind of order that is simple, brutal, and unquestioned. He sees himself not as a public servant, but as a gatekeeper, a lone legionary holding the line against the encroaching chaos he sees in every shadowed alleyway, in every face that does not look like his own. Boredom is his enemy. It gnaws at him, a restless beast in the cage of his chest. These long, wet nights are the worst. The usual troublemakers are washed away, hiding in their hovels, leaving him with nothing but the endless, hypnotic sweep of the wipers and the crackle of the radio reporting mundane domestic squabbles and fender benders. He needs a spark. A flicker of defiance. Something to remind him who is in charge. His gaze drifts, scanning the desolate streetscape. It lands on a bus stop, a flimsy glass and steel shelter that offers little protection from the driving rain. Two figures. One is a young man, barely out of his teens, tall and thin, swallowed by a hooded sweatshirt that does little to ward off the chill. The other is a woman, older, her form obscured by a long, sensible raincoat. She is on her knees, gathering the scattered contents of a split grocery bag. An orange rolls away, coming to a stop near the young man's feet. He bends, picks it up, and offers it back to her. A simple act of kindness. Frank Miller sees a transaction. He sees a predator and his prey. He sees exactly what he wants to see. The beast inside him stirs, awakens. This is the spark. He kills the wipers. The world outside snaps into a blurry, distorted focus. He puts the car in drive, the engine's low growl a promise. He does not use his sirens. He does not need them. His presence is meant to be the only alarm necessary. The patrol car glides to the curb, its headlights pinning the two figures in their harsh, interrogating glare. They both squint, raising hands to shield their eyes. Perfect. They are already on the defensive. Dr. Anya Sharma feels the familiar, cold knot tighten in her stomach. It is a feeling she has known all her life, a conditioned response to the sudden, blinding light of authority. She is a woman of immense power, of intellect and influence that could crumble men like Officer Miller with a single, quiet phone call. But in this moment, under these lights, she is just a black woman in the rain. She is just a target. The young man, Jamal, freezes. He is a good kid. A pre-med student at the city college, working 2 jobs to help his mother. He had seen the woman's bag tear and had stopped to help without a second thought. Now, his simple decency has trapped him in a spotlight. He holds the errant orange in his hand like it is a piece of incriminating evidence. The car door opens with a heavy, metallic groan. Officer Frank Miller emerges, unfolding himself from the driver's seat. He is a large man, made larger by his uniform, the ballistic vest, the belt laden with the tools of his trade. He leaves his hat in the car, letting the rain plaster his short, thinning hair to his scalp. He thinks it makes him look more intimidating. More real. Well, he says. His voice is a low rumble, designed to carry, to intimidate. What do we have here? He does not approach them directly. He circles, a shark in the shallow water, his boots splashing in the puddles. He is enjoying this. The hunt. The initial fear. Jamal swallows hard. Evening, officer, he manages, his voice tight. I was just helping this lady. Her bag broke. Miller ignores him. His eyes are fixed on Anya, who is slowly getting to her feet, her knees aching from the cold pavement. She holds the ruined paper bag, a soggy mess of groceries. "You all right, hmm?" Miller asks, his tone dripping with a false, saccharine concern that is more menacing than any threat. "Is this young man bothering you?" The question is a trap. Anya knows it. Jamal knows it. It is designed to pit them against each other, to create a fissure of doubt he can exploit. "He was not bothering me, officer," Anya says, her voice steady, calm. She has spent years cultivating this tone, a shield of professional placidity. "He was being a gentleman. My bag split, and he was kind enough to help me pick up my things." Miller lets out a short, sharp laugh that is devoid of humor. "A gentleman," he repeats, drawing the word out, mocking it. "Is that what they're calling it these days?" He takes a step closer to Jamal, invading his personal space. He looks the young man up and down, a sneer twisting his lips. "What's your name, son?" "Jamal. Jamal Washington." "And what are you doing out here in the rain, Jamal Washington? Besides being such a gentleman?" "I'm waiting for the bus," Jamal says, gesturing to the shelter. "I go to City College. I just got off my shift at the library." Miller nods slowly, a parody of understanding. "The library? Right. I'm sure you were just reading books." His gaze flicks to Anya, then back to Jamal. "You know her?" "No, sir. I just saw her drop her groceries." "So you just decided to approach a woman you don't know? Late at night? In the rain?" He frames it as an accusation. Every word is a brick in the wall he is building around them. "I was helping," Jamal insists, his voice rising with a note of frustration. "That's all." "Lower your voice when you speak to me," Miller snaps, his own volume increasing tenfold. The false concern is gone, replaced by raw, undisguised aggression. "You got a problem with my questions?" "No, officer," Jamal says, shrinking back. Anya steps forward, placing herself slightly between them. It is a subtle, protective gesture. "Officer, I can assure you, this is a misunderstanding," she says, keeping her voice even. "This young man did nothing wrong." Miller turns his attention fully to her. His eyes rake over her, taking in the simple raincoat, the sensible shoes, the tired look on her face. He sees nothing of value. He sees weakness. "And who are you?" he demands. "My name is Anya Sharma." "And what are you doing in this neighborhood, Anya Sharma? You don't look like you live around here." The neighborhood is affluent. Manicured lawns, historic brownstones. Anya lives 3 blocks away, in a beautifully restored Victorian she bought with a salary he could not dream of making. "I do live here," she says simply. Miller smirks. "Right. Of course you do. Let me see some identification. Both of you." It is not a request. It is a command, backed by the weight of the badge on his chest and the gun on his hip. Jamal reaches for his wallet, his movement slow, deliberate. He knows the dance. No sudden moves. No excuses. Anya sighs internally. She had a long day, a grueling 12-hour session working on a federal oversight brief that could reshape policing in 3 states. She just wanted to go home, eat her now soggy salad, and sleep. She does not have her purse. In her haste to grab a few last-minute groceries, she had left it on her kitchen counter, bringing only her keys and a credit card tucked into her coat pocket. "Officer, my wallet is at home," she explains. "I only ran out to the corner store. I can tell you my address. It's just up the street." Miller's eyes light up. This is the hook. The non-compliance. The excuse he needs to escalate. "No ID," he says, his voice taking on a tone of grim satisfaction. "That's a problem. A real big problem." He turns back to Jamal, who is holding out his student ID and driver's license. Miller snatches them from his hand. He shines his flashlight on the cards, scrutinizing them as if they were forged documents. Jamal Washington. 20 years old. Address is on the other side of town. He looks up, a triumphant gleam in his eye. A long way from home, aren't you, son? What are you really doing over here? Casing the neighborhood? Looking for opportunities. I told you, I go to school here. The campus is 10 blocks that way. Jamal protests, his fear giving way to indignation. I work at the library. You can call them. I'm sure I can, Miller sneers. But right now, you're in my world. And in my world, you're a punk who's out of his element, harassing a woman who doesn't have any ID. A car slows as it passes, its driver rubbernecking at the scene. A man walking his dog on the other side of the street pauses, watching from a safe distance. He is the ineffective ally, a silent witness paralyzed by the display of power. He feels a pang of guilt, a desire to intervene, but the fear of being dragged into the officer's orbit is stronger. He tugs his dog's leash and hurries away. Anya sees him go. She feels a profound sense of isolation. They are alone, trapped in this bubble of Miller's making. Officer, this has gone far enough, she says, her voice hardening. You are profiling this young man, and you are detaining me without cause. Let us go on our way. Miller laughs again, louder this time. He is incredulous. The audacity of this woman, telling him how to do his job. Detaining you, he says, stepping toward her until he looms over her. Lady, I haven't even started. I'm conducting a field investigation. You're a potential witness, and he's a potential suspect. And you, with no ID, are a potential accomplice. Or maybe you're the one who needs help, and you're just too scared to say it. He leans in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper that carries the foul stench of stale coffee and self-importance. Is he your dealer? Is that what this is? A little late-night transaction gone wrong. The accusation is so absurd, so vile, that Anya is momentarily stunned into silence. Jamal is not. That's crazy, he shouts. She dropped her groceries. I was helping her. Put your hands on the car, now. Miller roars, his composure finally snapping. He shoves Jamal hard against the wet metal of the patrol car. Jamal stumbles, his hands flying up to brace himself. The orange he was still holding falls and rolls into the gutter. Stop resisting! Miller yells, though Jamal is doing nothing of the sort. He yanks Jamal's arms behind his back with practiced, painful efficiency. Officer, stop! You're hurting him. Anya cries out, taking a step forward. He's just a boy. Miller glances over his shoulder, his face a mask of triumphant fury. He has what he wanted. Escalation. Conflict. Justification. You stay back, he commands, pointing a thick, accusatory finger at her. You're obstructing my investigation. One more word out of you and you'll be in cuffs right next to him. He turns his attention back to Jamal, cinching the handcuffs with a cruel, metallic click. He pats the young man down roughly, pulling out a phone and a set of keys from his pockets and tossing them onto the hood of the car. Let's see what else you've got, Mr. Gentleman. The public humiliation is complete. Jamal is spread-eagled against a police car, cuffed, his face pressed against the cold, wet metal. Anya stands helpless, her groceries scattered and ruined at her feet. This is the peak of injustice. The moment where Miller's power is absolute and their dignity is non-existent. But this is also the moment he crosses the line. The moral event horizon from which there is no return. He looks at Anya, at her expression of quiet fury and despair. He mistakes her composure for weakness, her silence for surrender. He decides to deliver the final, crushing blow. The one that will put her in her place for good. You know, I see your type all the time, he says, his voice filled with a smug, philosophical contempt. You come into these neighborhoods, pretending you belong. You buy your expensive coffees and your organic vegetables. He kicks at a head of lettuce lying in the puddle. You think you're better than everyone else. But you're not. You're just playing a part. He takes a step towards her. So why don't you stop pretending, Dr. Anya Sharma, or whatever your name is? Stop pretending you're some big shot. Stop pretending you're anything more than what you are. You're in my world now. And you have nothing. His words hang in the damp air, a poison meant to seep into her soul. He expects tears. He expects her to break. He expects her to beg. He gets none of it. Instead, something in Anya shifts. The shield of placidity does not just harden, it transforms. It becomes a mirror, reflecting his own ugliness back at him. Her eyes, which had been pleading moments before, now hold a cold, analytical fire. The fear is gone, replaced by a focus so intense it is almost tangible. She reaches into her raincoat, not for a weapon, but into an inner pocket. Miller tenses, his hand instinctively going to his side arm. Don't you move, he barks. She ignores him. Her fingers close around what she is looking for. She pulls her hand out, and as she does, her fingers fumble on the wet fabric. A plastic card on a blue lanyard slips from her grasp. It falls. It does not clatter on the pavement. It lands with a soft, wet slap in a shallow puddle, face up. The world seems to slow down. The sound of the rain, the hum of the city, the thumping of Miller's own heart in his ears, it all fades into a dull, distant roar. The only thing that exists is that small rectangle of plastic. Lying in the dirty water, illuminated by the harsh glare of the headlights. Miller's eyes are drawn to it. He squints, trying to make out the details through the raindrops dotting its surface. He sees the holographic seal of the federal government. He sees a photograph of the woman standing before him, though in the picture she is wearing a severe suit, her expression one of utter confidence. He sees the bold letters at the top. United States Department of Justice. And then he sees the title below her name, the words that shatter his reality, the words that turn his kingdom of asphalt into a cage of his own making. Special Counsel. Civil Rights Division. Below that, another line, smaller, but infinitely heavier. White House Security Clearance, Level 4. Frank Miller's blood turns to ice water in his veins. The arrogant smirk on his face does not just disappear, it is wiped away, violently, as if by an invisible hand. The color drains from his cheeks, leaving behind a pasty, sickly gray. His booming voice, the instrument of his power, is gone. When he tries to speak, only a dry, croaking sound emerges. He looks from the ID card on the ground to the woman in front of him. He is not seeing the same person. The tired, defenseless woman in the raincoat has vanished. In her place stands something else entirely. Her posture has changed. She is no longer hunched against the rain but stands tall, her shoulders back, her chin up. She radiates an aura of authority so profound, so absolute, that it makes the badge on his own chest feel like a cheap tin toy. The power dynamic in this roadside drama has not just shifted. It has been annihilated. Anya bends down, her movements fluid and unhurried. She plucks the ID card from the puddle, wiping it clean on her sleeve with a deliberate, almost casual motion. She does not put it away. She holds it between her thumb and forefinger, letting it dangle. A pendulum marking the end of his career. "Officer," she says. Her voice is different now. The warmth is gone. The pleading is gone. It is flat, cold, and precise. It is the voice of a person who does not issue requests, but gives orders. It is the voice of a person who writes reports that end careers, that dismantle entire departments. "I believe you were in the middle of conducting a field investigation," she continues, her eyes locking onto his. He cannot look away. He feels like an insect pinned to a board. "Let's continue. For the record, please state your full name and badge number." Miller's mouth opens and closes, like a fish gasping for air. He stammers. "Your name and badge number, officer," she repeats, her tone unyielding. It is a requirement under Departmental Policy 314, subsection B. Failure to identify yourself to a civilian during an official stop is a Class 2 infraction. He flinches. How does she know the policy number? Miller, he finally chokes out. Frank Miller. Badge 734-inch. Thank you, Officer Miller, Anya says, her voice laced with an irony so sharp it could draw blood. The time is now 11:42 p.m. We are located on the corner of Oak Street and Prospect Avenue. You are accompanied by... She glances past him, at his partner, who has been standing by the passenger door, a silent accomplice to the whole affair. The partner, a younger officer named Henderson, looks like he has seen a ghost. His eyes are wide with panic. He is frantically trying to calculate how to distance himself from the train wreck he is witnessing. Henderson, the young officer squeaks. Officer Henderson. Badge 12-15-inch. Officer Henderson, Anya acknowledges with a curt nod. Duly noted. Now, Officer Miller, let's review the events of the last 10 minutes. She begins to pace slowly, her wet shoes making soft sounds on the pavement. She is no longer a victim. She is a prosecutor in her own courtroom. You initiated a stop based on the visual observation of myself, a black female, and Mr. Washington, a black male, engaging in what appeared to be a non-criminal interaction at a public bus stop. Her words are a clinical, systematic dismantling of his actions. You approached us with a presumption of guilt, framing a simple act of assistance as a potential criminal transaction. You refer to Mr. Washington's kindness as what they're calling it these days, a clear instance of biased language. Is this an accurate summary so far? Miller says nothing. He is paralyzed, his mind screaming. This cannot be happening. This has to be a nightmare. Your silence is noted, Anya continues, her voice unwavering. You then demanded identification. Mr. Washington complied fully, providing a valid student ID and a state driver's license. You dismissed this evidence, choosing instead to focus on his address, using it as a pretext to accuse him of casing the neighborhood. This constitutes a violation of the Fourth Amendment, specifically regarding illegal search and seizure, as interpreted by Terry v. Ohio, which requires reasonable, articulable suspicion for a stop and frisk, a standard you have clearly failed to meet. She is not just quoting the law. She is wielding it like a scalpel, dissecting his every mistake with surgical precision. Miller feels a wave of nausea. He remembers his body camera. He had muted the audio when he first approached them, a common practice for him when he wanted to engage in what his colleagues called off-the-record conversations. He had forgotten to turn it back on. Or so he thought. I also assume, Anya says, as if reading his mind, that your body-worn camera has been recording this entire interaction, as per Federal Mandate 1138, which this city adopted last year following the consent decree. She pauses, letting the words sink in. I should inform you that my division installed new software in all departmental equipment 2 months ago. It includes a fail-safe. Any attempt to manually mute the audio or deactivate the recording during a civilian interaction automatically flags the footage for priority review by an Internal Affairs Oversight Committee. A committee that I chair. The blood drains completely from Miller's face. He feels a sudden, urgent need to sit down. His legs feel weak, unsteady. He glances at Henderson, a desperate, pleading look in his eyes. Save me. Back me up. Henderson takes a deliberate step backward, physically and metaphorically distancing himself from his partner. The code of silence, the thin blue line, has been erased by a single plastic card. It is every man for himself. My partner was the primary officer, Henderson blurts out, his voice shaking. I was securing the scene. Anya's gaze drifts to Henderson. It is a look of pure pity and contempt. Securing the scene, Officer Henderson? Or failing to intervene? Your duty to intervene when you witness a fellow officer violating departmental policy or constitutional rights is not a suggestion. It is a legal obligation, affirmed by the Circuit Court just last year. Your inaction has been duly noted as well. Henderson visibly wilts, his betrayal gaining him nothing. Anya turns her attention back to the main target. Officer Miller, you then escalated the situation. You physically assaulted Mr. Washington, shoving him against your vehicle and placing him in handcuffs, while shouting "Stop resisting," despite the fact that he offered no physical resistance whatsoever. This is a clear case of excessive force and filing a false report, which, I remind you, is a felony. She takes a step closer to him, her voice dropping, becoming more personal, more venomous. And then you turn to me. You made a series of statements that were not only unprofessional but deeply prejudiced. You accused me of pretending. You told me I was in your world. You told me I had nothing. She holds up the ID card. Does this look like nothing to you, Officer Miller? He cannot answer. He can only stare at the card, at the symbol of a power so far beyond his comprehension that it might as well be alien. He begins to babble, the words tumbling out in a desperate, incoherent stream. Look, Lady M. I'm sorry. It was a misunderstanding. The rain, it's been a long shift. I was just trying to be thorough. You know how it is. We have to be careful. His bluster is gone, his arrogance shattered. All that is left is a pathetic, whining man trying to talk his way out of the abyss. It is the most disgusting thing Anya has ever seen. A misunderstanding, she repeats, her voice dangerously quiet. You think this was a misunderstanding? You terrorized a student. You illegally detained a federal officer. You violated a dozen policies and at least 3 constitutional amendments. This was not a misunderstanding, officer. This was a choice. You made the choice to see a threat where there was only a young man helping a woman with her groceries. You made the choice to abuse the power of your badge because you assumed we were powerless. She pulls out her phone. Her movements are calm, methodical. You were wrong. She dials a number from memory. The phone does not even ring once before it is answered. This is Sharma, she says into the phone. Her voice is all business. I have a situation. I'm invoking Protocol 7-inch. She pauses, listening to the voice on the other end. That's correct. I need a civil rights rapid response team at my location. Corner of Oak and Prospect. Send an IA supervisor and a departmental liaison. And notify the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'll be filing a preliminary report within the hour. She gives one last instruction. And send a car for Mr. Jamal Washington. He's a material witness. I want him escorted home safely. She hangs up. The silence that follows is absolute. Jamal, still cuffed against the car, stares at her with a look of pure, unadulterated awe. He had been a victim. Now he is a material witness. Frank Miller stands frozen, the last remnants of his hope turning to ash in his mouth. Protocol 7. He does not know what it is, but it sounds like the end of the world. It is. Less than 5 minutes pass. It feels like an eternity. Then, in the distance, a new sound. Not the familiar wail of a police siren. This is the low, powerful thrum of multiple engines, growing closer at an astonishing speed. First, 2 black sedans, unmarked, with tinted windows, scream around the corner, their tires hissing on the wet pavement. They box in Miller's patrol car, one in front, one behind. Doors open, and men in dark suits emerge. They are calm, professional, their eyes scanning everything, missing nothing. They move with the quiet efficiency of people who are very, very good at their jobs. They are federal agents. Immediately behind them, 2 more patrol cars arrive, but these are different. They are from the city's Internal Affairs Division. A man in a captain's uniform gets out of the lead car. He is tall, stern-faced, and he looks furious. He strides directly towards Anya. Dr. Sharma, he says, his voice tight with a mixture of respect and controlled anger. Captain Davies, Internal Affairs. I was notified you had a situation. A situation that is now under control, Captain, Anya replies, her tone formal. These 2 officers, Miller and Henderson, conducted an illegal stop and engaged in what I believe will prove to be a pattern of harassment and abuse of power. Captain Davies does not even look at Miller. He looks past him, as if he is already a ghost. I understand, he says. He turns to one of the suited men. Secure their weapons and their badges. They are suspended, pending a full investigation. Place them in separate vehicles. The order is executed with chilling speed. Two of the agents approach Miller. Officer Miller, one says, his voice devoid of emotion. Place your hands behind your back. For a moment, Miller does not move. He is in shock, his brain unable to process the speed of his downfall. From king to prisoner in less than 15 minutes. Now, the agent says, his voice a little harder. One of the IA officers steps forward and unlocks Jamal's handcuffs. You're free to go, son, the officer says gently. We'll give you a ride home. Jamal rubs his wrists, his eyes still wide. He looks at Anya, 1,000 questions in his eyes. She gives him a small, reassuring nod. The agents take Miller's firearm from its holster. They unclip his badge from his uniform. The public stripping of his power is complete. He is no longer Officer Miller. He is just Frank Miller, a man in a wet uniform who made a catastrophic mistake. As they lead him to one of the sedans, his composure finally, completely breaks. This is garbage, he shrieks, his voice high and thin. I was doing my job. You can't do this. I have rights. No one pays him any attention. He is just noise now. They put him in the back of the car. Just before the door closes, he looks out and sees Anya. She is standing under the streetlight, the rain tracing patterns on her coat. She looks serene. She looks powerful. She looks like justice itself. She meets his gaze, and for the first time, she allows a flicker of her own anger to show. You said I was in your world, officer, she says, her voice carrying easily over the rain. Welcome to mine. The door slams shut, sealing him in darkness. The fallout is not a storm. It is a biblical flood. It is swift, merciless, and it washes away everything Frank Miller has ever known. His suspension lasts exactly 12 hours, the time it takes for the U.S. attorney to review the body camera footage, the footage that Miller thought was muted, but which had captured every sneering word, every illegal command. He is fired the next day. Not allowed to resign. Fired. The termination letter cites gross misconduct, violations of civil rights, perjury, and conduct unbecoming of an officer. But it does not end there. Dr. Anya Sharma is not interested in simply getting one bad cop off the street. She is interested in tearing out the rot, root and stem. The U.S. Attorney's Office, at the formal request of the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division, convenes a grand jury. Frank Miller is indicted on federal charges, 2 counts of deprivation of rights under color of law, and 1 count of making a false statement to a federal officer, a charge added after he lied to the first FBI agents who interviewed him. His partner, Henderson, hoping for leniency, testifies against him. He details years of Miller's behavior, the casual racism, the routine bullying of citizens in minority neighborhoods. He describes how Miller would boast about his methods for intimidating people into consenting to illegal searches. Henderson is not spared. He is fired for his failure to intervene and for his long-standing complicity. He pleads guilty to a lesser charge and receives 5 years of probation and is permanently barred from ever working in law enforcement again. Frank Miller, convinced of his own righteousness, refuses a plea deal. He goes to trial. It is a catastrophe. The prosecution, led by a sharp young attorney from the U.S. Attorney's Office and advised by Anya Sharma herself, is relentless. They play the body camera footage for the jury. The entire, unedited 10-minute interaction. The jury sees his sneer. They hear his condescending tone. They watch him shove a compliant college student against a car. They listen as he tells a woman to stop pretending. Anya takes the stand. She is no longer the woman in the raincoat. She is Dr. Anya Sharma, Special Counsel for the Department of Justice. She calmly, clinically recounts the events of that night. She explains the laws he broke, the policies he violated, the trust he shattered. She is the perfect witness, articulate, unimpeachable, and utterly devastating. Jamal Washington also testifies. He speaks of his fear, his humiliation. He tells the jury about his life, his studies, his dreams of becoming a doctor, his part-time job at the library. He is the face of every innocent person ever victimized by an abuse of power. The jury deliberates for 45 minutes. The verdict is guilty. On all counts. At sentencing, the judge, a stern woman who has seen it all, looks down at Frank Miller from the bench. "You took an oath to protect and serve," she says, her voice ringing with contempt. "Instead, you chose to bully and to terrorize. You were not a guardian, you were a predator. You saw the law not as a shield for the innocent, but as a sword for your own prejudices. The damage you have done extends far beyond one rainy night. You have eroded the very foundation of trust between the community and the people sworn to protect it. This court will not tolerate it." Frank Miller is sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. Not a country club minimum security facility. A medium security penitentiary, where he is no longer Officer Miller. He is just inmate number 73,401 to 839. His pension is seized. His home is foreclosed on. His family, ashamed and bankrupted by his legal fees, leaves him. His ruin is total. It is absolute. But Anya's work is just beginning. The investigation into Miller's precinct, sparked by Henderson's testimony and an analysis of Miller's arrest records, uncovers a cesspool of corruption. Anya's team from the DOJ descends on the precinct. They audit years of records. They find dozens of wrongful arrests, falsified reports, and patterns of discriminatory policing. 6 other officers are fired. 2 lieutenants are forced into early retirement. The precinct captain is demoted and transferred to a desk job in the city impound lot. The entire police department is placed under a sweeping federal consent decree, written and overseen by Dr. Anya Sharma. It mandates new training, a new use of force policy, and a powerful, independent civilian review board. The change is slow, painful, but it is real. For the heroes, the rewards are just as profound. Jamal Washington receives a formal, public apology from the mayor and the new police chief. The city settles a civil suit with him out of court for an undisclosed, but substantial, sum. Anya, using a portion of her own considerable salary, establishes a scholarship fund in his name at City College, designed to help students from underprivileged backgrounds who are pursuing careers in public service. Jamal becomes the first recipient. He is no longer a victim. He is a symbol of resilience. Anya is promoted. She is made the Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division. Her reputation as a brilliant, relentless force for justice becomes legendary within the Department of Justice. She uses her new position to create task forces across the country, dedicated to rooting out the kind of systemic corruption she exposed in her own city. 2 years later. The rain is falling on the city again. But tonight, it feels different. It feels like it is actually washing the streets clean. In a brightly lit conference room in a federal building, Anya Sharma stands before a group of young, eager law students and new DOJ recruits. She is mentoring them, shaping the next generation of public servants. She looks out at their faces, full of hope and determination. "Never forget who you work for," she tells them, her voice calm and strong. "You don't work for a politician or a party. You work for the people. All of them. Especially the ones who think they have no voice, no power." She pauses, a faint memory flickering in her eyes. Power that is not tempered with empathy is tyranny. Arrogance is a blindfold. It makes you see threats where there are none, and it makes you miss the real danger standing right in front of you. Miles away, at the City College campus library, Jamal Washington is tutoring a freshman in organic chemistry. He is patient, kind, and brilliant. He is at the top of his class. He is going to be a fine doctor. After his session, he walks to the bus stop. A patrol car glides to the curb. For a fleeting second, the old fear returns. But the officer who gets out is a young woman. She smiles at him. "Evening," she says. "Nasty weather. Just wanted to make sure you were all right. The bus should be here in about 5 minutes, according to the tracker." "Thanks, officer," Jamal says, a genuine smile spreading across his face. "I appreciate that." The officer nods and gets back in her car. It is a small moment. A simple interaction. But it is a universe away from that other rainy night. It is the proof of change. It is the legacy of a woman who was told to stop pretending. The moral of this story is etched into the very fabric of Frank Miller's downfall. Arrogance is a self-inflicted wound. Prejudice is a prison of one's own making. When you believe you are untouchable, you fail to see the forces gathering against you. When you judge people by the color of their skin or the clothes on their back, you render yourself blind to who they truly are. Frank Miller thought he was a king in his small kingdom. He never realized he was just a pawn in a much larger game, a game with rules of justice and accountability he could not comprehend. He thought Anya Sharma had nothing. In truth, she had everything. She had the law. She had the truth. And she had the unwavering conviction that no one, no matter how powerful they think they are, is above the consequences of their own cruelty.